Residents of Northern Syria welcome the peace agreement between the Kurdish forces and the Assad government. Hundreds of Syrians took to the streets tonight to praise the agreement to deploy Russian troops and Syrian government forces along the Turkish border. Local residents say the Russians will likely save them from artillery barrages, and possible political persecution by Turkey. Separate reports find U.S. and Russian forces are coordinating their movements in the area to keep both sides safe. Kurdish civilians are expressing hope the war will end soon. One America's Kristian Rouz has more.
Massive celebrations in Syria as Kurdish officials reach an agreement with Russia and the Assad government to contain the offensive by the Turkish military. According to the Syrian Democratic Forces Sunday, the Assad forces, backed by the Russian private military, will be deployed all along the Syrian-Turkish border to halt the bloodshed. The announcement comes in the wake of ongoing pullout of U.S. troops, which the Pentagon expects to complete over the coming few days.
But I don't think our soldiers should be there for the next 50 years guarding a border between Turkey and Syria when we can't guard our own borders at home.
Recent reports by the mainstream media claimed President Trump's decision to withdraw from Syria could hand the war-torn country over to Russia and its allies. But the president's decision hardly comes to America's detriment. Peacekeeping efforts in Syria are becoming increasingly costly amid the growing appetites of Turkey and Iran in that country. And even Moscow is seeking a negotiated solution between Ankara and the Kurds to limit its own military involvement.
This Turkish operation could certainly help Ankara and Damascus take part in talks, but Moscow's capability of doing so is doubtful, considering Assad's tough stance. Amid its advances, Assad is less and less prone to listen to anyone.
As of Sunday, the Turkish military only advanced some 20 miles into the SDF territory since last Wednesday, meeting stiff Kurdish resistance every inch of the way. Now that the Russians are coming, the Turkish operation is expected to grind to a halt, despite belligerent statements by Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan.
Those who threaten us with economic sanctions and arms embargoes, those who think they'll turn Turkey back from its path, have been mistaken, and they are mistaken.
The Kremlin is seeking to restore the rule of Bashar Assad in entire Syria, not least due to lucrative oil concessions promised by Assad to Russian oil companies. However, many oil fields in Syria are held by the SDF, and now that the Kurds are working with Assad, Russia's own vision of peace in Syria is closer to becoming a reality. And yet, some say Iran and Turkey may be disgruntled over the warming ties between Assad and the SDF that leaves out the Turkish and Iranian-backed Islamic militants.
But no matter what we did, the media will say it's the wrong decision. I see it. Makes no difference. If I said, we're going to stay and fight, we're going to fight them like you never saw, they'll say, it's terrible, I told you he loves war.
Russia and Assad have already begun the deployment of their troops in the SDF-held areas, with more troops arriving to replace their US counterparts over the coming days. Meanwhile, Russia and Turkey are advancing dialogue to cease all hostilities in Syria. Kristian Rouz, One American News.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.